The loudest pistol in 2026 might be the one you regret buying first. That's the problem right now. Same handgun names everywhere. Shop counters, range lanes, comment sections. Buddies acting like they cracked the code because they watched 3 clips and handled 1 at the counter. Buzz starts messing with your head. Hear a name enough times, and it starts feeling safe. Like maybe you're late, like maybe you're the idiot still carrying the old answer while everyone else moved on. I don't buy that. These 5 handguns are not here because the internet got loud. They're here because people keep buying them, defending them, carrying them, arguing over them, and comparing everything else against them. Some of that attention is earned. Some of it smells rushed as hell. One pistol is getting forgiven too fast. One is dragging buyers into a whole new lane. And the top pick matters because it threatens the default choice. I wasn't shopping for a Canik, and that's exactly why the Mete MC9 Prime pissed me off. Last Thursday in Midland, I walked into a small FFL with my cousin after his night shift. The clerk looked cooked, the 9mm shelf looked robbed, and the MC9 Prime sat under the glass, like it already knew the room had run out of excuses. Not hidden, not begging. Right there. A woman came in asking for the usual famous carry gun. Gone. Asked for the other one everybody keeps chasing. Gone too. The clerk dropped the Canik Mete MC9 Prime on the mat. She made a face. I don't want the cheap one. That got quiet fast, because the Canik didn't look cheap. Ported slide, clean sights, carry grip that actually filled the hand. And that finished out feel other companies keep charging extra for. The MC9 Prime sat there like a problem nobody wanted to admit was real. The clerk didn't pitch it. He just said, "People come in for the big names," and leave with this. 10 minutes later, she was signing paperwork. That's why everyone's talking about it in 2026. The Canik is not just writing leftover attention. It's stealing conversations at the counter. I still didn't buy one. Holsters matter. Long-term trust matters. But when my cousin already knew the name, I felt that little oh shit twist. The cheap ones stopped acting cheap. Another Glock-shaped pistol. That came out of my mouth before the Ruger RXM even fired a round. Same basic shape. Same magazine pattern. Same controls sitting where my hands already expected them. I picked it up, ready for the usual act. Almost a Glock, cheaper, corners showing by the second box of ammo. That cheap copy feeling never really arrived. And that pissed me off more than I have. The RXM's trick is dirty. It borrows the language your hands already speak. Draw it, reload it, clear it, drive it back on target, and your brain keeps trying to call it lazy while your hands keep running it clean. After a few hundred rounds, I was still waiting for the shame to show up. Waiting for that little moment where I went, yep, there's the knockoff. And grip module sat right. The gun tracked, honestly. And I kept shooting it like something I already trusted before my ego gave permission. That's the disruption. Not that Ruger copied a familiar formula. Everybody does that. The RXM makes familiars feel useful instead of stale. It still lives under the shadow of the pistol it resembles. And long-term trust, a hot weekend. But I kept waiting to feel like I was shooting the replacement gun. My hands never got that memo. Half my students showed up with either a 19-size gun or an Echelon compact, the instructor said. The Echelon guys ask fewer stupid optic questions. That line kept murmuring. Thursday outside Bourne, heat index acting ugly, retired Bexar County guy running a defensive pistol block with no brand love speech, just sweat, dust, bad draws, guns getting handled by tired people who stopped pretending. The Springfield Armory Echelon 4.0C kept coming up between drills, not as a toy, not as some launch week flex. Guys were talking setups, dots, comp models, flush mags, longer mags, carry rigs, what stayed tight after a few hundred rounds. That's the 2026 part. Compact pistols are not just small enough to carry anymore. Buyers are asking if the whole system makes life easier after the receipt clears. I ran the 4.0C during break with slick hands and low patience. Serrations bit. Grip felt like it had a job, not like Springfield chopped a bigger gun, and hoped nobody noticed. Still, platform talk can make smart people dumb. A clean setup does not equal carry trust. The base gun still has to earn ugly days. But people keep saying Echelon 4.0C because compact no longer feels like enough. And the next one is worse. People use it to judge everything else. The room had already voted before I touched a pistol. Katy indoor range, Saturday afternoon, AC losing to Houston humidity, and the SIG Sauer P365 X-Macro was everywhere without trying. Rental tray, lane 7, guy by the trash can, loading mags, like he'd done it 1,000 times. The kid behind the counter didn't ask what I wanted. You here to try the macro, or you already own one? That annoyed me more than it should have, because just get the macro has become the laziest carry gun sentence in America. I hate lazy answers. I hate when one pistol turns into the measuring stick, and everybody repeats it like a church prayer. Then the targets started talking. A couple 2 lanes over had a tiny carry gun and an X-Macro between them. She shot hers, frowned, looked at his target, then back at her gun like it owed her money. He didn't brag. He just slid the SIG back across the bench. That's what makes the X-Macro own so much of the 2026 chatter. Not because SIG needs more fanboys, because every carry comparison keeps circling back to it. Does it hide? Does it shoot? Does it make smaller guns feel like excuses? I still don't like the price. I don't like how popularity makes people skip fit, belt, draw, all the boring stuff that actually matters. But fake hype fades. This thing keeps winning arguments out loud. Nobody got excited when the Glock 19 Gen 6 showed up. That's what scared me. Saturday morning in Grapevine, the FFL wasn't even open yet, and 2 guys were already standing at the glass, like they were waiting on test results. Clerk unlocked the door, looked up, and said, "If you're here for a Gen 6 19, I've got 3. 2 are spoken for. No speech, no surprise, no big reveal." That was the whole vibe. Nobody asked if Glocks still mattered. They talked like the answer came preloaded. I handled one for maybe 90 seconds. It still looked like a 19, but it didn't feel like the 2018 gun sitting in my memory. Better trigger face, meaner texture, that thumb ledge feel, cleaner optic setup, small stuff until you remember Glock small stuff turns into holsters, mags, classes, duty belts, and every argument at the counter. The X-Macro wins arguments. The Glock 19 Gen 6 decides what the argument is. Would I dump a running Gen 5 for it? Not automatically. That upgrade money still stings. But people don't talk about the Gen 6 because it feels new. They talk because every new pistol still gets measured against it. The market can chase noise all year. The default only has to move once. And before we close this out, there's one quieter gun that keeps surviving all this noise. And then there's the one nobody brags about anymore. That's why I almost left the S&W Shield Plus off. The whole year has been loud. New names, fresh cuts, louder arguments, everybody acting like their carry gun came with a campaign manager. After a while, every pistol starts sounding like it wants your vote. Then a couple of weeks ago, I was just trying to get through a grocery run. Hot parking lot. Shirt stuck to my back. Seatbelt biting right where it always does. Nothing tactical. Nothing cool. Just one of those ugly little errands where you carry because you carry. And there it was again. Shield Plus. Not on a bench. Not in a debate. Not getting passed around by guys trying to prove something. Just sitting where a carry gun actually lives. Getting out of the truck, bending for a case of water, standing in line behind a guy buying lottery tickets and dog food. The Shield Plus caused the least drama of anything I owned. That's the part people skip. Talk is cheap, money makes it louder, carry time makes it ugly. The Shield Plus survived the ugly part. The flaw is real. It does not feel like the future anymore. It doesn't give you that fresh gun itch. Some newer pistols feel cleaner, flatter, more current, and somehow that makes it more annoying. Because after all the noise, it's still in holsters, still on nightstands, still getting reach for when nobody is filming. Maybe that's the most uncomfortable kind of relevance. That's the line I care about. Not cheapest, not coolest, not the pistol with the loudest fan club. A smart 9mm still makes sense after the first range built, after the holster drawer fills up, after the honeymoon wears off and you're stuck carrying the thing. Some of you already own the expensive mistake. Hell, I've owned plenty. Some of you skipped the better gun because it didn't feel flashy enough at the counter. That kind of regret doesn't hit all at once. It bleeds out slow, so drop it below. Which 9mm actually saves money in 2026? And which one is just expensive noise? I'm Steve. The wrong gun doesn't always fail. Sometimes it just keeps charging rent